Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? A big show in Serbia since 2002. When this story started, you were at the top. And then you reached the point where you lost everything.
At that point, when you lose everything and that everything that you had, it was tough. It was really, really tough. Lost hundreds of friends. I really learned a lot. I think one of the most important things is not to stop believing in yourself. Whatever happened to you, you're still the person you should love.
I just want to highlight that you had on your quiz a prime minister of Serbia at that time, Zoran Đinđić.
So it was the pinnacle, let's say, of my career in Serbia, having a prime minister. Nobody in the world didn't have a prime minister in the show. We had it. And I was 27 at the time. I only felt a pressure until the shooting started. When it started, I felt at home.
What do media, game shows, millionaires, and curiosity have in common? Today's guest knows how to answer these questions. Ivan Zeljković, Zeka, a media pioneer, iconic TV host, and the voice who wants to be a millionaire. In Balkans, well known, but for here, he needs introduction. Zeko, welcome.
Thank you very much, Luka, for having me in your Shredify podcast.
It's a pleasure, and I would like to start from Dubai. As we met in Dubai,
Yes.
I would say 7-8 years ago,
Yes.
correct? What has brought you here to Dubai?
I came here accidentally. Like it was not a huge research, some pros and cons, making lists, due diligence or whatnot. I was just invited to see whether if I can do some business here, and I came here for a month. After that month, I didn't seal a single deal, but I sensed that this market and this country is open, safe, secure, and has a lot of potential and a lot of opportunities. And here I am, 12 years later, and still believe in the same things. Dubai, not that it didn't disappoint, on contrary, it really brought it to another level, and it's always reimagining itself, and together with itself, it reimagines us. All of us that we live here, that know, people sometimes say Dubai is like a matrix. Yeah, man, but we are living in that matrix. It's really beautiful. And as we discussed before, after all of your global endeavors and something, when the things changed, you wanted to come here, not anywhere else that you lived or did business. So it's beautiful and really, really loving being here.
I agree. Zeko, I want to rewind back and just to introduce you from another note. You had a big show in Serbia since 2002.
Yes.
And then it stopped.
Yes.
And then you regained position on 2022.
Yes.
So it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
When this story started, you were at the top, I would say peak, and you mentioned in some podcasts that you made millions out of the show and that age, and then you reached the point where you lost everything.
Yes.
Can you tell to audience how does it feel when you have everything? You were very popular, you were having a fame, you were having a glory, everything, everyone knew for you at that time, and then you reach to the point where you see your bank account and you see zero.
Not only bank account, many other really ugly things and so on. I think at that point, the sanity and the clear mind and the mental stability came from the family. And from my really closest friends. And at that point, when you lose everything and that everything that you had, like a media attention, I had a media attention, but then that media attention turns against you because, like you are in a spotlight all the time. And it was tough. It was really, really tough. I hopefully not. If I ever come to that situation, I would definitely feel different and I will definitely act differently. And I would know that there is a brighter tomorrow. Like we mentioned Dubai just a few moments ago. Few years back, my wife and I, we are sitting in our garden here playing a guitar. It was dark, we were just watching the stars and playing the guitar, like in the backyard. She and myself alone, and she said a sentence which maybe explains how I felt then. She said, "You know what? I just realized if we didn't have that struggle a few years back, we wouldn't be here at the moment." So I'm reading one beautiful book now. It's called Outliers. And basically it says, and this is the philosophy of all let's say, wisdom books or religion, even you are today whatever happened to you before, what people you met before, what you learned before, you are now. So it's always a clean slate when you can start. So yes, it was difficult, thanks to the family and the really small close friend group, because lost hundreds of friends in that moment, but few of them, I can count them on my fingers, stayed. And I really learned a lot, and I struggled a lot. It was almost a decade since I was feeling the consequences of that failure. But I think one of the most important things is not to stop believing in yourself. Not like as a phrase, but remember, whatever happened to you, you're still the person you should love. Like you should love yourself. And it took me some time to realize that, because I really, and even today, this is my upbringing, this is my mental conception. I really don't want to double cross or trick anyone in the world. But it happened, like the things happen out of our control. And I thought that I was one to blame. I didn't blame it on anybody else, but on me, and so on. I'm not saying that you should put the weight on everybody else. It's your fault. Basically, I ran my business, and I ran it poorly, and it is a consequence. But still, you are the same person in winning or losing. And I think that is very important. Our dear friend and our dear countryman Novak Djokovic always says, his latest interview, he said, the interviewer asked him, Slaven Bilic asked him, like, how come you are never, stressed, and he says, no, you are mistaking. I'm just returning in seconds to my previous solid mental state, and so on. So everybody has struggles. When we are losing, we think that we are only one in the world, but no, everybody, today, tomorrow, everybody here you meet have struggles. Everybody's bringing their own cross, as we say.
Yeah, I couldn't have agreed more on what you said. Basically, what I believe is that setbacks are great lessons. So whenever life put the setback, you learn and you move on. And the thing which you mentioned, and I would agree completely, is that people stay in that matrix and they leave that. And they don't see that there is another door. You just need to keep going and moving.
Yes.
And that's something what usually when people get to the point where they fail because they don't continue.
Exactly, and not continue that business that you ran, not continue that work that you did, but continue with your life, with your self-confidence that you are worth, and then that you can bring value somewhere to someone. And at the stage that you are now, you want to touch more people, and and then give them value. And this is basically it. It sounds harsh. It sounds hard. It's a learning. Please don't give me that learning anymore. But still, don't repeat the same mistakes, obviously. And as I said, you have to keep loving yourself and say, okay, I am worth something. Let's put that something to work, and it will work out.
Yeah, I have to emphasize the thing that you put on LinkedIn. You said that you've been traveling the world, and it's not only sightseeing, it's a factor of curiosity and knowledge. How has your travel shaped you to approach the life, to hosting, to storytelling, whatsoever, if you can tell us?
It's everything. But before I answer that question, I have to really congratulate you on good preparation, watching podcasts, my LinkedIn page, and so on. And this proves that you can do anything in the world. So thank you very much for good preparation for this podcast.
Yeah, obviously, I've tried my best because when people come, usually you have to ask quality questions.
Yes, of course.
For others to understand. And as better as my questions are, the podcast will be better, right?
Exactly, and it's all about the preparation. The medals are won in the gym, not on the court. Like whatever.
Yeah.
I always say for the guys like you, all pumped up and everything. Like that doesn't come. That comes only with continuity and with good preparation. So yeah. But back to the question, and the question was about the travels. Yeah. And this is something that my wife Vesna and I, we are raising up our kids also. We want to show them that no matter how big is the world, it's still reachable. In today's day and age, the tourism is blooming more than ever in the history of humankind. People are traveling just for fun. People are traveling just to visit and to learn and so on. And like you can watch documentaries, you can read books, you can watch social media about some location, but until you have been there, sensed it, felt it, you will know. We just recently went to Thailand with kids, and one sentence blew my mind. Like my son, who is 15 now, said just a random thought. Like he said, in this restaurant, people are waiting. Like in Thailand, like people are waiting in front, so it must be a good restaurant. It is the same like in Japan. We visited Japan last year. He went to Thailand this year. And in his mind, he knows what the culture of going to restaurant in Japan is, comparing it to what Thailand is. Not to mention that he's living in Dubai, going to the school with 60 nationalities. And that is being, that is what I feel is being rich means. And I really, really think that each and every travel is not only experience for your eyes, and maybe sometimes for your stomach, for your belly, because you have to try the gastronomical stuff, wherever you go. But also it keeps teaching you that cultures, tradition, people mindset, and how they are turned to life, and so on. And I think that's the biggest thing. Even when we were giving names to our kids, Petra and Luca, we want them to have the international names. We didn't know that we will be living in Dubai. We felt it maybe and subconsciously knew, that we will be somewhere abroad. But we want them to be the citizens of the world. And this summer, like in few days, I don't know when you broadcast this, but in few days, in August 2025, the plan is to go on a road trip through Europe, Germany, Netherlands, and France. And the reason is we want them to study in Europe or US, we'll see. And they don't know Europe. My wife and I, we visited a lot of Europe when we were living in Serbia. We visited Serbia, first of all, up and down, everywhere, and then we visited Europe a lot, but they didn't, because from here you usually travel to Asia, to Africa, to those destinations, some exotic, nice destinations and so on. But then we realized, kids do not know Europe, and this is why we are going. So my long answer to your short question is every travel is an experience, and we are blessed to live in the most luxurious time of the humankind, where we can afford. Imagine you being a king in I don't know, 15th century, 16th century. You're a king, but still your travel from Paris to London lasts 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like just travel. Now you sit in a Eurostar, 2 hours, and you're from Paris to London, and then Airbnbs and bookings and whatever, like helping you really accommodate the all the needs and all the learnings you can get.
Yeah, life is way easier. And thanks to the modern society, right?
Yes.
Obviously, we live at a place where everything is accessible, right?
Yes.
Dubai, everything is on your exactly on palm of your hands. Yeah. Zeko, you are the king of the media, and I truly believe that.
Thank you very much.
The question is, did you choose media or did media choose you?
I chose media, and I have so many things to choose, or choosings. Is it? Is it the word? I don't know. But I think that it is important in your life to choose with your heart and your mind, not only with your heart. Because when I was in high school, simultaneously almost, I started a high school and I started working in media. Somewhere I was in the first grade of high school when I started in media in 1992. And actually, first grade. And the point is that I could have chosen geography as my love, as my passion, or media as my love, as my passion. So that's my heart. But then, or music, sorry, I was also in the music a lot, I had a band, And I was like here. And then as I'm teaching my kids now how to choose what they will do in life, because they are now at 15 and 17, my age, and so on. So first, you have to choose something that you truly love. It would be good that you are good at it. And then it would be good that you can monetize on that. When you have those three things, you can have the fourth thing. And the fourth thing is, I think you mentioned that you are in that stage now, when you want to touch more people, when more people can get the value from your side. This is why you have your app. This is why you're not coaching one by one person. Sometimes you do high tickets, but you have the app, because this is how you can spread those things that you love in the quickest possible way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the purpose today has shifted. We lived in a world when interaction one-to-one in face was needed because there was no internet. Nowadays, you have to monetize and to tap into the modern world, modern society, and be available to as many people as you can.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I think you have chosen the right path, not geography.
It was a tough battle. I'm honestly, and I didn't leave geography. Like my geography is in my life even today. But I studied geography actually. My education.
I have to interrupt. You still know how to. When you see the clouds, you understand which cloud is.
Of course.
Because I was watching your podcast and you were saying about clouds.
Yeah. It is. Of course, I knew that when I was 5 years old, because my father taught me, how to recognize the clouds, and he's the geographist, and he didn't push me to geography. He made me love geography, and I'm really still involved. And when we travel somewhere, when we travel somewhere, I like to see how that surroundings, that relief, was made, and I like to explore. But media is magical. Even this today, I'm as you said, the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the biggest TV show in the world ever. I run several podcasts of my own. I have podcast studios of my own. So I'm very, very close to media. But when you invited me, it was obviously because you are a friend and so on. But still, the magic of media brought me here because everybody likes to be in front of the camera, and maybe one of the reasons is because through this lens, through the equipment and the posting and distribution of the content, you reach as many people as you can. And that, if you think about it, is our biological thing, because we want to continue the species, and you continue the species by evolving not only physically, but also with the knowledge and passing the knowledge to the next generations, because this podcast will be seen, could be seen 100 years from now. 100 years from now, you're dead, I'm dead, everybody we know is dead, but this podcast will live. And this is the legacy moment that media allows us.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you see this picture, which you painted right now, I get goosebumps. I don't know about you, but I do.
Even now, like 30 plus years in media, soon to be even 40, like, not soon, but 30 plus years in media, and still, I truly believe that media is magical. So many levels of it, and podcasting today is the thing to be in. Not of course, you want with your podcast to have millions of views, millions of followers, millions of this and that. But it's more deep connection and conversation, and broadcasting the message to your targeted audience. Like for you, could be 1,000 people. If you reach 1,000 views, that's really, really good. Just imagine 1,000 people in one room, in one hall. It cannot be the room. It has to be the hall.
This misconception that people have, they don't understand how much is actually 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And when you see a picture with 1,000 people, it's a huge audience. Yeah. And then especially if these people are there because they want to know what you're speaking about. Yeah. So you are targeting the right audience, correct?
Exactly.
I'll be quoting you again. I have to, because I've been studying what you were posting on LinkedIn, and there you said, as you were a host in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you said, becoming a millionaire isn't just about knowledge, it's about curiosity. Yeah. And what about curiosity? You have hosted more than thousands episodes of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You had the great guests. Yeah. What about curiosity, and what is all about?
The curiosity is thing that is moving us forward. If you're not curious, you can lay down in bed, and just go to, do nothing. Curiosity today, let's say, my curiosity was, what's this studio like? I want to see this studio. I never went to this studio, so it's a curiosity to be here. I asked you a few questions before we started filming. Hey, Luca, what's up with you? That's the curiosity. But on a higher level, the curiosity, I think, I was not a straight A's in my school. I was good student, but I was not straight A's. And I was, as we say, campaign learner. I just I have an exam, do it, and then I was not learning all the time. But now, as I grow older, I love learning all the time, and all new things, to listen to people, to get to know, and so on. And in the quiz show recently, because the quiz show is still on, in the quiz show I had a contestant which did really, really, really good. You have 15 levels, 15 questions. She reached 12 or 13. Really, really good, and she was nicely educated, but she traveled a lot, going back to travels, and she was curious, and she was exploring not only Europe, but the whole world, and so on. And she was kind of, I don't know, I saw her in her, she was relaxed, and like, I don't know. I call it the life's experience. When I see that in contestants, it's not only about learning. You have people quizomans, people quizmen. In English,
I don't know.
Yeah. In Serbian, it's quizmen, but in English, it's probably quizmen. People who like quizzes, and they learn a lot. They know a lot of trivia questions and so on, and they know how they can answer the questions and so on. But she was really something else, And I think I think I even told her that her curiosity brought her to where she was in the quiz show. Not only in the quiz show, but most importantly in her life.
Yeah. I would link the thing that you said just now. I had last week top sales guy, and he said to be a top seller, you need to ask good questions, and that comes to curiosity.
Yes.
Because people, they can smell the sales straight.
Yes.
And then if you ask questions which you are curious about and which are, I would say, genuine questions, you'll be able to get in touch with the person. And I just want to highlight, because you're mentioning now that this is the one of the key elements to become a millionaire, at least on the show. So I would agree. Let's move on. Obviously, you've been speaking about the podcasts and broad streaming, right? I think in days that we are living in, it's never been easier to access to information, but it's never been easier to get wrong informations at the same time.
Yeah.
How we can split right and wrong informations when it comes to presenting yourself, when it comes to media, when it comes to doing the things just in general online. What would be your go-to advice for somebody who is young, for somebody who is starting?
It's always better to paint your own picture about yourself than leaving everybody else to do that for you. That means you have your application, you have your podcast, and you're telling your story, asking the questions, but also we are talking, and you're sending your message and your story to the world. So this is the thing. This is the thing number one. The second thing is do not think. You cannot stop some things. You know, like when somebody, if I say now something bad about you, it's there. The only thing you can do is prove wrong. Not saying it's not true. Of course, you say it's not true, whatever. But people will know you better if there is more positive information about you than negative information about you. One of the things that I would definitely do differently in the moment when my company collapsed and it was a huge media house and chaos and everything, I would communicate it better. So communication is the key. How to, like in my age, when I was born, the communication was only one or two channels of communication. At my time, I remember when in Serbia we got third channel, so it was two channels only of TV, few radio stations, two channels of TV, and that was it. Now you have thousands and thousands and thousands channels of communication. When I was born and before, people were born with the idea everything that comes from that source of communication, TV, radio, is correct. Not judging it, Even this is how the rulers were ruling more because of
they rule still this way.
Yeah,
but now we have the other source of information.
We have the other source of information, but newer generations, I would include your generation too, but even younger generations like my kids, when they see something, they don't believe it. They don't believe it. Their first reaction is, "Oh, I have to check if this is true."
Yeah,
they are critical about the information they are getting, and obviously, with the growth of AI tools and all the tech stuff that is coming, we will be very, very soon. We'll be able to recognize the fake from real news. So it is this moment. It is the plenty of communication. Like it's too much. Maybe there is a lot of noise there, but as long as we have so many sources, it would be easier to drain the truth.
As you mentioned, you lived through analog media, and now we are in the era of TikTok, artificial intelligence, instant clips. What still matters in your opinion, and what is completely dead?
Yes, I was born, and I worked actually in 1992 when I started working on a radio station. I was editing, I don't know whether if you know magnetophones, like the trackers.
I've heard from them,
trackers.
but I never
Yeah,
seen
so,
them.
so I was editing on those. So you cut the ribbon, you cut the tape,
Yeah.
and this is how I started. Slowly, computers came in and so on. Just a few minutes before you mentioned, it was the time without internet. In my lifetime, so I was born in the capital of Serbia, like 1975, and until I was 10 years old, we didn't have a phone. It was a modern building. It was just not everybody had the phone,
Yeah.
not internet, phone. And I remember the time, it was maybe 1991 or 2, when I first communicated via some chat programs with someone in US, and I was like, what is this on the screen? Like it's crazy. And now, our families back in Serbia have daily report where we are, what we do, like images, WhatsApp groups, and so on. So the distribution changed. The distribution of the communication changed from phones, radio stations, TV stations, newspaper, and so on, to internet, to social media, news portals, podcasts, social media, whatever it is there. But something that will never change, and something that is the same, like when Gutenberg invented a printing machine and the newspaper, is the story. So story is the king. How you will distribute that story, is it Gutenberg's press and the newspaper, or is it before that the drummer? The drummers were coming to cities and hey, this is happening, and so on, or smoke signals, I don't know, So no matter how you're telling your story, or today, podcasts, social media, blogs, vlogs, news portals, whatever, the core is the main thing is always the same. The story is the king, and the value of it will bring
Attention.
We are all fighting for attention, but the value will bring the gravitas, the weight to what you are sharing. So has to have a value, has to be a story. How you will distribute it doesn't matter. Who knows what kind of media we are going into in the next 5 or 10 years, not to mention even 1 or 2 years, everything changed with AI and so on. So, but one thing will stay the same. Whoever does the content, is it AI, is it a person, is it whoever, the story is king and will always be. The distribution will change.
I have to say the story once you already mentioned. We are coming from the place where, as you said, you've seen the phone when you were 10. I've seen the internet when I was 15. And we were paralyzed. Imagine Ivan Zeljković, who is born in England or any other Western country, with potential that you achieved in Serbia. What would be the outcome if you are some Englishman or some American? Man, you reached the glory, and at mid 2000s, like I would say 2002 to 2008, you were at the top. Just imagine with your speaking, I would say, core and knowledge of how to say the story. If you were born somewhere else, me as well, we were paralyzed we are blessed and we are cursed at the same time. Would you agree with me?
Definitely it will be different. On what side? I don't know. Like if I was a host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like Jimmy Kimmel or Chris Tarrant or any other host in the such countries, oh yeah. But who guarantees you that I would be the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in US or UK, France or anybody else, anywhere else?
No, I'm just seeing through. I'm just trying to to take your core and put in.
Of course, no. If you, but I just want to again emphasize one thing in this book that I'm reading, Outliers. Basically, we always tend to explore the successful people, how they became successful, and everybody is exploring their path and their personal path. But what I would, and I agree with the book, is what I would say is circumstances and options. So, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came to Serbia in 2002. I was born in 1975. A little bit young, but still at the right place at the right time. I was working at that TV station before the quiz. I was the audio producer. And I was lending my voice to some shows. And the guy, the producer of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, saw that and say, oh, let's try this guy. So what brought me there was 10 years of experience on the radio, day, night, no matter what time, learning, the best mentors. I did Vox Populi, like from the street, whatever, interviews and so on, minus 20 degrees, like, so it was tough. Like I was getting up in the morning, doing the some street reports, for the morning shows on the radio and so on. So all of that came to the point. And then on the other side, you have the circumstance that, that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is the first international format ever in the world, and the most successful and the first. So I was there in some conjunction of the circumstances, and thanks to my learnings of the 10 years, they chose me for being a host. So I'm not sure, and I don't know whether if I would be the host if I was born in any of those countries. But your question was, I remember one thing, and that hurt me like an arrow through my heart. Chris Tarrant, original host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, had a salary of, I don't remember the figure, but for me at that time it was like, what? Like he had like 20,000 pounds per episode, something like that. I don't know. I forgot the number. And I was like, wow, like I'm not getting that for a season, something like that in Serbia. And when I went to the studio in UK, Pinewood Studios, and I met him, and like he was in the his green room or the changing room was huge. There was a champagne. He was smoking a cigar, like in a bathing robe, whatever, like he was like a true millionaire, and like it was not, the conditions were not like that in Serbia. But and definitely the difference for one Chris Tarrant or Jimmy Kimmel, who is the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Regis Philbin, previous host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in US, we cannot compare. Like it's I don't know, it's huge. But again, I'm thankful that this opportunity changed my life, and in the circumstances that I think I took really good things. Maybe I could have got more something, I don't know, but I'm really truly thankful and grateful that those guys chose me, and that I was it changed my life. And one interesting thing, it started in 2002. YouTube was invented in 2005. Like it was pre everything. And it was harder to get to your to that let's say positions to host a show or something like that. Yeah. I was offered some shows before, but I declined. But this one was too big to say no.
It was tougher time before than now to get exposed.
Yes.
And you need to have outstanding quality for sure.
Exactly.
When I say outstanding qualities, I just want to highlight that you had on your quiz a prime minister of Serbia at that time. Actually, it was Serbia and Montenegro. Zoran Đinđić.
Yes.
For me, one of the greatest
Yeah.
people that Serbia ever had. Great visionary guy. Can you tell us the moment from this episode? Anything interesting about? And if you can share something, because I think he reached quite.
Yeah, he reached level 12, I think.
Yeah.
In the questions, and it was a charity, and he didn't want to gamble. He knew the answer for the next question. Interesting thing, in his 12 questions, there was one question about United Arab Emirates.
Oh.
And it was 2002 when we recorded that. New Year 2003. It was. This is when it was broadcasted, and there was a question about United Arab Emirates. So it was the pinnacle, let's say, of my career in Serbia, having a prime minister. Nobody in the world didn't have a prime minister in the show. We had it because being a public person, especially politicians and so on, it's tricky, you're getting questions and you have to answer them. If you don't answer them, people will laugh at you. So your credibility is at stake, And obviously, I felt the greatness in the room when he was there. But to be very, very honest with you, and there was a documentary about that show, which I still have, and the documentary said in the documentary I said, I just recently watched it, but in the documentary I said, everything before him on stage was, oh my God, like all the security and all the stuff and so on. But then I want to mention one more thing. We had my favorite football player of all time, Dragan Stojković Pixi. We had my owner of TV station. We had mayor of Belgrade in the same show. We had Lazar Ristovski, which is one of the most famous actors ever in Serbia. And we have my favorite musician of all time, Bajaga, in that show. So for me, that show, and I was 27 at the time.
Yeah.
So for me, that show was huge. And obviously, Prime Minister is the biggest shot at that point in Serbia. So I only felt a pressure until the shooting started. When it started, I felt at home. So show was on for almost a year. It was my home, and I already felt it. In a nice way. And he was really, really, really. Those people which when you talk with, you learn something. You feel it, and he was like that. True visionary.
The reason I asked, because I'm still listening to some quotes that he was saying at the time, and the guy was just a brilliant mind.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
We've been losing so much.
Yeah.
As he's gone.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would close this story, and now I would. I don't want to get into politics. That's the only reason. Nothing else.
No, of course no.
On Millionaire, contestants they have live lines like switch the questions.
Yes.
Is there any moment in your life when you was thinking, can I switch the question actually?
In my life, not in the quiz show.
No. This is like, when you wish, I wish I was dreaming about, but actually it's happening.
In a positive or in a negative way? Anyway. Of course. But I really try to live my life without regrets. I want to try things. I want to explore things. I'm curious, as me coming to Dubai. What it is then if not a curiosity, I met a friend of mine. She introduced me to a friend of hers, and she said, this guy is coming to Dubai on 17th of October. 5 minutes later, I said, I'm coming. And if you live life like that, obviously you have mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And then going back to the story I told you about the collapse of my business and so on, everybody has good times, everybody has bad times, and during those, I think the regret is the biggest pain you can have when you're getting older. And I think that if you ask the people who are like 70, 80 plus, like, and so on. The biggest thing is having no regrets. Obviously, you have to be in like a nice person. Obviously, you have to have some ethics. You have to have moral and stuff. But within that boundaries, you can still be curious. You can explore things. And obviously, you can make mistakes. Important thing: don't stop loving yourself. Important thing: don't stop exploring and being curious.
I think that mistakes are the part of life.
Yes.
And that they are needed in terms to grow.
Exactly.
So I just want to put the lights on storytelling, because I think today's who knows better to present the story
Exactly.
gets the audience for himself.
Yes.
And you are a storytelling person. What are the key notes to tell the good story and to be interesting?
I'm a storytelling person, but I'm bad at storytelling. Like, I'm good at storytelling, but as here in the podcast, I'm sure that you expected me to answer shorter on these questions, But I just like to talk, like.
I love it as well, man.
I think like your friend in sales, I think you should listen to people more and sense what is the right moment to say when and how much to say. That is really, really important. And try to keep it within the boundaries, like of interest of the person. Like, I could tell you now the whole story, how I started on the radio, how I grew up, and nobody cares. Like that's not the point. Point is to stick to the questions and try to be as concise as possible, which I'm not managing all the time. But it's important to understand your audience. Like, if you see the DJs, what they're doing, they're just playing the music. But what distincts good DJ from a bad DJ is understanding the audience, what they like, what they want, what to have more, what to have less. The same thing is in storytelling, like, you just continue what your audience is asking for. I think that's the key of the good storytelling.
Because why did I ask? I asked because you grab attention of the people if you know how to say the story on a correct way, if you know actually how to present the pain points.
Exactly.
Because people are just stick within a frame of buying the things. You buy the things emotionally.
Of course.
And then, as much as I know how to present the story, and you can link yourself with my story and with my pain points, I'll be able to sell to you things easier. And that's why media is the king of everything. Because you get exposed.
Yes.
And you show actually
Yes.
that you know what you're speaking about. And I think you have a great story because you been at the top, you reach the rock bottom, and then you're again up. So you were having everything, you've been taken from this point to the point of rock bottom, and then again you rise.
I think that every person in this world has a story to tell. Everybody, every single person. If you ask the guy, the producer of this podcast, sit down and tell me your story. Where you're from? How did you came here? So everybody has a story to tell, and that's the beauty of, let's say, democratized media. And that's you just have social media at your disposal. You just have podcast studios now. And even your phone. Come on, it's enough to have good video and good storytelling. So I think everybody has a story to tell. Of course, people who were in some spotlight, and celebrities and stuff, we want to hear more about them because we know them and we are emotionally connected maybe, and so on. But I'm sure that each and every taxi driver, bus driver, retail salesperson, waiter, everybody has amazing story to tell. So This is why I love this age, because everybody can tell their story, and they should, like you have your coaching app, you have your business in high ticket coaching, and you still started a podcast because, as the guru Gary Vee says, today every company is a media company first, and then everything else. Today every person is a media person first, and then everything else. If we now go into my social media or phone, spend how many hours I spend on my phone, you would see that daily it's around 6 to 8 hours on phone. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But this is the age we are living in.
Yeah, but this is well the problem. We are all chasing dopamine, but I will not talk about
Yeah. Of course.
Just because this is topic for itself, and
I
it's
agree.
huge.
I agree. And it's a huge problem.
Yes, it is.
Which has to be solved. I spent a beautiful weekend in Dubai this weekend. I spent a beautiful weekend in Dubai. I think my screen time is less than 1 hour for 2 days. That's beautiful thing. But life is not that interesting all the time, and you need that shot of dopamine. Like there's just scrolling, doom scrolling, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to wrap it up. So imagine somebody is listening to this episode in 2030. What would be one thing that you hope that people will remember according to today's conversation?
If I can go a little bit into fitness and wellness, if you allow me. We mentioned a lot about my story and the struggles that I had and the learnings that I have and so on. And even with all of that, I think I'm the happiest person in the world. The happiest person in the world isn't smiling all the time. Happiest person in the world has problems, and so on. But I think you can be fulfilled from within if you don't stop loving yourself, if you are curious, if we can go back to a few things, and if you focus some time, which could be even the smallest amount of time, for yourself, and be selfish when you are dedicating the time for yourself. My recent transformation I lost a lot of weight.
I could see.
Yeah, more than 50 kg. It started here, and it started with the things that I just said. Everything else, we all know. Everything else, like you can find on ChatGPT, on Google, whatever, you can find the diets. You can find, if you don't click here. So no matter what you think about your present status in your life, where you are at what stage of life you are, don't stop thinking about yourself. Be selfish. Obviously, don't be egomaniac, and stuff. But think about yourself, because even people like to say, "Oh, I'm doing this for kids, But if you are not there, like I was, like maybe a year ago, I think I was 10 to 15 years older than I actually was. And luckily, one doctor told me, even you have possibility to go back to your biological age. I'm getting there. I'm like very, very close to that. And why I did it? Because I was focusing on business. Due to the collapse of my company that I had, I wanted to sacrifice everything for business. I was waking up at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., go and go travel a lot, this, that, And then you realize, does it make sense for me to die in 3 years as the richest person in the world? No. But it doesn't mean that you stop chasing for the highest goals and your vision and so on. So if you want to be here for your kids, if you want to be healthy for yourself, if you want to be fulfilled and genuinely happy in your life, start focusing on yourself and how you can be better for yourself and for the others.
Makes sense. I would just add, thank you for being a guest today. It was a pleasure, man. And thank you again.
Really good questions, really good preparation. From the media point of view, like really good conversation. And thank you very much. Because one of the things is, as you said, you were listening. Because I answered the question, you're not directly going to the next question. Maybe you skipped a few, but you were following the flow of the conversation. This is why I liked really.
I'm just trying to improve. As you said, I recently started doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm figuring new version of myself through it. And still I need to learn a lot. I need to get inspired by people like you are. And it was quite challenging for me to host the host.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it was really my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.